ultiori. We already did a video about what the plague from the Plague of Madness episode by Primal Tartagovsky might have been. That's if it occurred naturally or as naturally as we can say it occurred. But what if there is another possibility? What if there is another theory? What if the witches caused it? I know this sounds really awkward, but in the trailer for the second part of season 1 of Genndy Tartagovsky's Primal, we saw a lot of weird ass shit there. And what they're seeming to convey is that the second part of season 1 has magic in it. And of course, I know that they're doing this around October as well, but what they've also done is that they've showed the Plague of Madness episode that was released October 1st, 2020 to be canon. Really, Altiori? How do you know that? Well, simply put, if you look on the Adult Swim's website. Oh, wait. Oh no, it's gone. Oh, the horror. No, I really swear it was up there, but now it's not. It was saying that it was episode 7, and I'm like, okay, so I guess it is canon, which is pretty weird. It would make things very interesting. I mean, the Plague of Madness episode was confirmed that it was for a joke. It was just for fun. And then later on, you see it popping up all over the place that no, it's actually part of the series. And I was also confused because when we were supposed to get a Primal episode last week or this week last, it wasn't there. So I was like, okay, they're airing Plague of Madness though. So I'm like, is this really part of the story? I guess. And now, looking at the site, they've taken it off. How strange. Now, it was said that the Plague of Madness episode was for April's Fool's Day, as I said, and it was held as a mini upfront presentation hosted by Post Malone, during which new episodes and pilots were shown early, and premiere dates were announced for new seasons. But you see, I'm not crazy, because I go back and everyone has seen this too when it was up there, and it's kind of weird they took it down. But it was aired on April Fool's Day, but it was also re-aired on October 11th. Also, on some platforms, you'll see that they have it listed Plague of Madness and Scent of Prey. At the bottom right hand corner, you can see that Scent of Prey, which is episode 6, came out on the 4th, while Plague of Madness came out on the 11th of October. So with all of that being said, and from them reintroducing it here, I'm sure they did it just because, you know, some people might not have gotten to see it last time, but this is reason for us to believe, at least, that there's a possibility that the Plague of Madness episode is in fact canon. I know I talked about this again before, but even more so because we've seen in the upcoming episodes, there's going to be a lot of magic and witchery involved that will also possibly explain the origins of the black goo. Now, what I'm about to show you is a Primal episode 8 promo of Coven of the Damned, which is supposed to be the next episode of the series. Voila, here we see a witch, obviously, because it says Coven of the Damned, which means it's going to be a whole bunch of witchcraft, and we know that these animals with the green eyes are being controlled by the witches. So, isn't it also possible that these witches could have made this black goo? Or isn't it also possible that the witches might have been responsible for the Plague of Madness? That's all there is, folks. See right there, this woman who obviously didn't have horns like the other witches, she can transform into this wendigo looking thing. So there are a lot of instances in Primal where there are events that take place that are probably not explained in the natural sense. Why does that black goo make things turn into these hulking demons? Why does the Plague of Madness allow dinosaurs that are deteriorated and basically skeletal versions of themselves still allow them to be walking? I understand it was very hard to explain that part away, especially when you consider that if most of the muscles are melted off of the bones of an animal, they basically can't stand up. Of course, we put this all up to being, oh, it's a cartoon. But in reality, that really would not happen. be hard pressed to explain away a dinosaur leaping into liquid hot lava and coming out with almost all its muscles gone. It's still being able to move and act according to a predator or just a regular living animal. It's freaking weird. It's otherworldly. It's supernatural. Of course, we could explain that it's rabies or whatever version of a reptilian rabies that would be. It still doesn't explain how a dinosaur that is rotting and totally decayed can be totally submerged in liquid hot lava and still be alive. Now, it's possible if its brain is still functioning and that's what the virus or whatever this thing is affects, then that would be believable. But it is very hard pressed to believe that it being totally submerged in lava, that it would come up in its brain, not be totally cooked. Now, because we didn't have witches as part of the story before, we were like, yeah, that's a special type of virus that I guess if the brain is burnt to a crisp or boiling, you can still have animation within the host. But now that we have witches as part of the story, it is totally plausible that this is a supernatural event. For all we know, this strange entity that obviously isn't purely human is responsible for causing it, or could have been responsible for the extinction of many species. Why? We don't know. It could have been that she gave these people, this coven, this weird liquid thing, some version of a potion, and then it went awry when they misused it, and then it got out of control. We don't even know what these things are. They're clearly not human either. Maybe they're aliens. Because that's always the go-to, right? Like, if you can't explain anything and it's not human, it has to be otherworldly. Aliens or demons. It's always the default. It has to be one of those things. In the promo, the animals with green eyes always seem hyper-aggressive and seem to be controlled by that wendigo-looking woman, like this Fenrir. I would even say the human beings, or the things that look like humans that we were looking at before that had those branches sticking out of their heads, could have been humans before, but this thing took control of them and now they worship her. She's basically like the primal version of the Game of Thrones White Walker, and her coven is the Whites, or just the WIGHT. You may be wondering, well, what is that? If you've never watched Game of Thrones, a White Walker is this ice demon human thing that once was a human. He has a whole bunch of generals, and they have an army of reanimated corpses. The White Walkers also have the ability to take control of corpses so that they can do their bidding. Spoilers! In fantasy fashion, we even see this with one of the dragons that was killed. White Walkers had to kill poor Viserion before they could reanimate him and take control. It is clear that after a White Walker has killed a corpse or finds a corpse of an animal or human and takes control of it by touching it, as you can see that the White Walker also has blue eyes, whatever it controls also has the same color eyes as the White Walker. As you see here in Game of Thrones, the dead dragon is reanimated, and voila, he now has blue eyes just like his master. He no longer remembers who he is. He is no longer the individual he was before death. And we see that very clearly here in Primal. This witch thing, or this demonic thing, has green glowing eyes. Everything that she controls or that follows her also has green glowing eyes. While creatures infected with the Plague of Madness didn't have green glowing eyes, their eyes did change color. This weird color or pattern was basically Primal's version of crazy or being controlled by something and being enraged as a result of it. As you see with the green glowing eyes creatures, that seems to be the case. So I think it's totally possible that these things, these witches, caused the Plague of Madness. I'm not sure, and I can't wait till we see the next episode. It's going to be really exciting, but we're going to learn a lot more about this strange, incredible universe. There's a lot more supernatural, and has a lot more supernatural elements, that is, than we previously thought, which is what makes it really fun, really exciting, and leaves room open for the imagination. What do you guys think? Do you think this Wendigo chick is responsible for the Plague of Madness? Let us know in the comments, and thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.